I am genuinely excited. So, without further ado, I am going to get out of your way and present to you all our speaker for the morning. This gentleman has made a life of helping people and changing lives. And I'm excited to call him my friend, as well as my business partner and mentor, Mr. Todd Smith. Are you available now, sir?
I'm here, Stacy. Can you see and hear me all right?
I sure can. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I am excited to be here. I started to get a little dancing there during the Cotton Eye Joe there at the end. So, but thank you for welcoming everybody on, Stacy. I also consider you a dear friend, and I am excited about the chance to share some information with our Top Shelf Nutra family here this morning. I've been working on this PowerPoint, and it'll probably be a work in progress, but I hope that this helps to understand why Top Shelf Nutra has developed the certain products and gone in the certain directions that it has. So with that, let me go ahead and share my screen. And Stacy, I'm going to ask if you can see the screen all right.
I sure can.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to have to move our pictures up to the top. There we go. Now I can see the slide. All right. So what we have today is a presentation about what makes Top Shelf Nutra and Top Shelf Nutra formulas unique, and why does this matter? And the philosophy behind it is that in today's world, we've basically been bombarded by the fact that there's a pill for everything, right? There's a prescription for everything in the medical community. And when I say that, I say the allopathic medical community has become very treatment focused. So you don't pay much attention until you get sick, and then when you go to the doctor, they write you a prescription. And the problem is that every one of those prescriptions carries with it some list of side effects, and sometimes the side effects are even worse than the condition. But that is the approach to treating health in today's world in our country. Now, it hasn't always been that way, and there have been lots and lots of people and even today, naturopathics and osteopaths and others who have looked at more of a holistic approach to health and are giving us advice on what we should do on a daily basis and what kinds of things we can change in order to prevent disease. And one particular industry, the veterinary industry, is especially this way. Now, they're not this way necessarily with our pets, but they are definitely this way with agricultural animals, because if you are a farmer and you've got a big herd of animals and you hire a vet, the reason you're hiring that vet is to keep your animals healthy. There aren't many vets that are going to take some livestock or a chicken and do knee surgery on them. That's just not worth it. The animal's only got it's only worth so much in the market. And so unlike us, where if I have a skiing accident, I go to a doctor and get my knee put back together, doctors are expert in that area. They're expert in that type of treatment for us. But when it comes to chronic illness, chronic diseases that are plaguing us today, they just are not the best. We are not living longer than any other cultures. We are living shorter lives. We are getting sick younger. And as a result of this, our medical expenses are just going through the roof. We're spending more on healthcare than any other nation in the world, and yet we are dying of diseases that an animal wouldn't die of. And so we have to kind of take what we can learn from the agricultural veterinary industry, the naturopaths, the osteopaths, and the medical community, and put that into our strategy for health. And so one of the things we do is we look at the longest lived cultures in the world. These are people that have had century-long health and has gone back generations after generations. And so we say, what do these folks have access to in their diet, in their lifestyle that we don't? And can we adopt those things into our diet, into our daily program, and see similar benefits? And the answer to that is yes. So we're looking for natural sources of antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, phenolics, detoxifying nutrients, essential nutrients like minerals, vitamins, acids, EFAs. These are things that we've identified we have to get on a daily basis. And they're not, if right now in today's diet, if they're not in the in the cheeseburger or the fries, then we're not getting it. And so we have to supplement. We have to find healthier ways to feed the body, because if we're not getting it, then we go without and then we get sick. It's also based on the philosophy that this body was created with the ability to heal itself. That when given the right compounds and the right tools and resources, this body has a way to rebuild and maintain itself. And so, based on that premise, we have gone to Fiji, remote islands in Fiji, to get our ginger and turmeric. We have been sourcing very unique sources of a superfruit called muscadine. If you haven't heard of that, it grows only in the southeastern United States. Nowhere else in the world has it been found, but it's loaded with these phenolics and antioxidants and polyphenols that we were talking about. You can see on that chart, just from an antioxidant standpoint, it's absolutely amazing. And we combine these different types of nutrients and others into some of these full spectrum products. Now, one of my favorites, Sport and Go. Okay. I love this stuff. It is a full spectrum ultimate hydration product to give you your plant minerals, over 77 plant minerals and electrolytes, branched chain amino acids, your B vitamins, and a number of other beneficial herbs, adaptogenics, and beneficial things that just help us to stay healthy and feel well. And along with that comes something called GTM. And this is a capsule that has in it this ginger and turmeric that we import from that remote island in Fiji. It has our muscadine seeds and skins and fulvic plant minerals. Again, these are all part of this formula of giving the body all of the raw materials it needs to repair and rebuild itself. And we know that at least 60 of those minerals are essential for health. That means if we don't get them, we know the disease that we're going to get as a result of it. There's over 10 different diseases linked to each one of these. And we know that if we don't get them, we end up deficient and we get sick. Now, we believe that science tells us that a healthy individual, their healthy body and their tissues and blood would have over 77 minerals. So that's why we're supplementing with a plant-derived trace mineral supplement that contains over 77 trace minerals. So with that, that becomes the core, if you will, of our program. The GTM, along with the Sport and Go drink, is what I do every single day as a baseline. That's what my kids do every single day as a baseline. That right there is a wonderful program to make sure your body gets the ginger, the turmeric, the muscadine, the antioxidants, the polyphenols, the trace minerals. The list goes on and on that are going to help the body maintain itself, repair, and rebuild. Now, why have other products then? And the answer to that is that some of us have not had GTM and Sport and Go all our lives. And so we are deficient in certain areas. And the neat thing about nutrition and health is that we can actually categorize groups of diseases or chronic illnesses, deficiencies, into groups. We can categorize them into groups, and then we can have supplements that actually take care of or repair and replace and replenish those particular deficiencies. So you'll see some color coding here as I bring up some of our products: our Vital Shake, our Java Boost coffee, the ATP Balance, Bone and Joint, Turmeric, Relax, Detox Tea, Lax, Ginger, Tea Tree, Muscadine, EFA Red, Muscadine Seed Oil, and Delo Cream are some of the products that we currently have at Top Shelf Nutra. And they can be categorized into these different groupings. And I've used colors here to kind of illustrate that. But if we can identify the symptoms of what people are suffering, we can then identify what tissues are affected and what nutrients are needed. So I'm going to walk you through kind of how this works as we talk about 4 categories of disease. So first one that we're going to talk about, and again, I've got to figure out how to move this thing out of my way: blood sugar disorders. Okay, blood sugar imbalances. Now, this demonstrates itself in a lot of different ways. there's a whole bunch of health concerns related to blood sugar. Some people think it's just diabetes, but it's not. And if you look at this list, you'll see everything from migraine headaches to learning disabilities to neuropathy to infertility, hyperactivity, excessive thirst, sweating, urination, elevated cholesterol and triglycerides, bedwetting, depression, diabetes. All these things have been shown to be related to blood sugar imbalances. So the body has this job. We're putting stuff in the body, and the body has the job of processing that and maintaining level blood sugar. You want it to go up a little bit and then come down as we consume and give our body fuel. Unfortunately, with our diet today, what happens to our blood sugar? We end up going up and then crashing, right? So we go up when we consume sugary, high carb foods, and then the body produces insulin and releases it to pull that blood sugar out of the blood, and we get low blood sugar. And then we're like, oh, I got to find some, we eat a candy bar, and we go back up, right? And we end up with this cycle. Well, what does it do? That wears out our body's ability to balance blood sugar. We end up with diseases like high blood sugar, low blood sugar, insulin resistance, and eventually diabetes, which then leads to a whole list of other diseases. So what we have to understand is that there's over 100 chemical processes that have to happen properly in order for the body to balance blood sugar levels. And this isn't even talking about the digestive processes that have to happen to pull the nutrients out of the food we eat. Just to balance blood sugar, there's hundreds of chemical processes which have a laundry list of cofactor nutrients that are needed and have to be present at that time, or one of these little processes doesn't happen correctly, and the body ends up having to compensate with insulin and other types of emergency type of treatments. So with that being the case, what do we do here at Top Shelf Nutra? Well, we have products that support healthy blood sugar levels and give the body tools. Some of them I already mentioned. The Vital Shake as a meal replacement. It doesn't have a lot of sugar and carbohydrates. Instead, it's balanced with the macros of fats and proteins and aminos to give you balanced blood sugar, to satisfy your cravings for about 3 or 4 hours and feel really good doing it. And something just as a sneak peek that's coming in the future is we are changing the formula a little bit to make it to where you can bake with it. So we'll have recipes and things that you can use to bake with this powder so that you can turn pancakes and bread and scones and different things like that into also balanced meals that will not spike blood sugar. Add to that the Java Boost coffee. If you are a coffee drinker and you're not drinking Java Boost, you're missing out, because in with the organic coffee are added a whole bunch of healthy nutrients, again, to balance blood sugar, eliminate cravings, give you healthy energy, and allow you, if you're dealing with weight, allow you to then avoid the carbs and the sugars and be able to help manage a healthy weight and lifestyle. Also, ATP Balance. This is a capsule that's designed if you are trying to cut calories, you're trying to reduce consumption, but you want to maintain healthy blood sugar levels and energy levels. The ATP Balance is designed for that. I love this product. I use this mainly in the afternoon for a pick-me-up when I got 3 or 4 more hours of work to do and I'm not feeling that energetic. This one will help to balance your blood sugar. I've taken them before a meal, after a meal. I just love that product, and I think there's many people on here that have had that experience as well. Go ahead and share it in the chat with regards to any of these products that you've been using. Muscadine seed oil. This is wonderful for preventing the body from storing fat. Study out of Florida State showed us that if muscadine seed oil, it's actually the tocotrienol that's in the muscadine seed oil, if that is in your bloodstream at the time that you are consuming a large amount of sugar and would normally, that's ending up as glucose, and the body would normally go and store in fat cells, you cannot store fat when you have tocotrienols in the body. It's a wonderful thing. It's not really a fat blocker. It's not blocking the consumption of healthy fats, but what it does is it gives the body the ability to burn fat instead of storing it. All right, let's move on then to the next category, which is the soft tissue disorders. Now, hard tissue disorders. I'm trying to see through this thing. I've got to get this moved out of the way. One second here. There we go. Hard tissue disorders. And this deals with everything that is structural in your body. So your skeleton, the muscles, as well as the largest organ in the body, which is the heart, the strongest muscle that we have in our body. And this is a area of tissue that requires certain cofactor nutrients as well. Let me give you a list here of common calcium deficiency diseases, because calcium is the largest of all of these in these cofactor nutrients that fall into this category. But calcium doesn't work by itself. It needs a whole slew of nutrients. There's over 60 nutrients alone that are needed to rebuild bones. Things like magnesium, strontium, calcium, boron. These are just examples, but there's over 60 of them just to rebuild bone. Now imagine if your structure, your bones, your skeletal system, your muscular system are being worked, right? You're running, you're going upstairs, you're picking things up. All of these produce wear and tear on these structural tissues, and the body has to replace them. And so there's things like glucosamine and chondroitin, all these things that the body needs to rebuild and repair. And so if you're suffering from any of those disorders that I had up there, one of the things you need to do is you need to focus on giving the body extra amounts of nutrients that help to rebuild and repair bones, joints, connective tissue, muscular tissue, etc. And so that's where the bone and joint product comes in. That's where extra turmeric comes in to reduce the inflammation so the body can repair, because it can't do it when it's all inflamed. And then a product that's coming soon called Relax, which you're going to love. All right, moving on now to category number 3, digestive and immune disorders. Now, you say, well, how come we're lumping those into the same category? Well, the thing is that if you are struggling with digestion, most likely you are struggling with immunity. The two go hand in hand. And so somebody who seems to catch every sickness that comes along, the number one thing they need to do is address their digestion. So these two do go along. They have a lot of the same needs. You'll see some overlaps here in this list of digestive disorders that tend to say, well, wait, that's immunity. That's my body fighting off infection or bacteria or yeast or viruses. These are all tied together. And so we've got to support the body's ability to break down and digest food properly. And we also have to support the body's ability then to fight off infections and the things that are attacking us. So remember, you are what you absorb. You are not necessarily what you eat. You could be eating really well, but if you're not absorbing it, it's not getting into the tissue. Okay. And so we have to make sure that from our mouth all the way to the end of the game, that the body has everything it needs to do this effectively. And think for a second. I mean, I love Jim Gaffigan's joke about pigs. He says pigs are an amazing animal. And we're like, what? And he says, think about this for a second. A pig can eat an apple. And of course, Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, will say basically worthless fruit. I disagree, but that's what he'll say. And it can turn it into bacon. It's a miracle. What an amazing ability, right? But think about that for a second. Everything we eat, our body has to identify, break down, and utilize, and either get rid of the bad or take in the good and rebuild and make tissue. It's got to make bone. It's got to make muscle. It's got to make blood. It's got to make hormones. It's got to make skin and tissues. I mean, you think about all the stuff that our body has to manufacture. Maybe that gives us a little pause for a moment to think about what we're putting into the body. Are we putting things in that the body can use? Or are we actually putting some things in there that create more work for the body, that the body has to sort out and get rid of? And when it comes to the inner lining of our intestine, these little hair-like follicles, they're called villi, they become very inflamed when we are eating high-carb diet, when we're eating a lot of colored dyes and preservatives and chemicals, and we're exposed to a lot of pollution and things like that in the food and water we drink, then what happens is they swell up. And it's through the ends of those little hair-like follicles, those villi, that the nutrients pass. Okay, so that's how we're supposed to get nutrients into our bloodstream, is that our digestive system, both through chewing and then the stomach acid and the duodenum, spraying it with with another additional bile, and then it getting processed in the stomach and then hitting the intestines. And through that time that it's in the intestines, it's supposed to be broken down so small that nutrients can pass through the ends of those hair-like follicles. So if you think about that, what happens when they swell up, when they become inflamed? Well, then food can't pass through there. And if you look at the picture there, it shows that some inflamed villi, and the microvilli are the little ends on the tops there, and you'll see a gap, and you'll see that little yellow molecule passing through that gap. That's called leaky gut. That's where undigested molecules are finding their way in through the blood, in through the intestinal lining and into the bloodstream, and that creates immune reaction. Now all of a sudden your immune system, remember I told you how these are related, digestion and immunity. Now your immune system has to go attack that. And what the medical community calls that is an autoimmune response. So we've got all sorts of autoimmune diseases today that didn't exist 40, 50 years ago. They don't exist in the animal industry. Well, why is that? It's because their digestive system has been healthier than ours today. And so we have to pay attention to this. Otherwise, we're going to suffer. And people are dying of autoimmune diseases that are caused by undigested food getting into the bloodstream. It's just a natural thing. They say, oh, your body's attacking itself. Doesn't make any sense. Why is this happening? It's because we are eating inflammatory foods and they are finding their way through leaky gut into our bloodstream. So what do we do at Top Shelf Nutra? Well, one of my favorites is the detox tea. This tea is amazing at calming down the digestive system. If you ever feel an upset stomach or acid reflux or belching, burping, bloating, any of these types of things, that is your digestive system saying, help. It's saying, whatever you gave me, I'm not doing very well with it. And the detox tea is designed to go in, calm that down. It also gives the body some very powerful nutrients to fight off infections, to seize any of the toxins that might be in the digestive system, grab a hold of them, that calcium bentonite clay, and flush them out of your system. There's so many powerful nutrients in that tea. I don't even have time to go through them all, but just know all you need is water, and you can solve these digestive issues. You can drink it hot, you can drink it cold. I prefer it hot. My daughter prefers it cold. You can even add it to your Sport and Go. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. Also, if you're not moving things out fast enough, we have the Lax product, which is to help speed up the digestive system and get rid of the things that the body doesn't want. Adding ginger to anything will help digestion. It is the one nutrient we know of. It's the only thing we know of that actually has scientific evidence of regrowing and repairing the villi in the intestine. Remember how I told you how important those villi are and those gaps that happen that cause leaky gut? Well, you can actually repair the lining of the intestines by consuming ginger. It's one of the reasons why we've got ginger in the Sport and Go and other things, is that we need to consume enough of that to support the rebuilding and repairing of our intestinal lining with the American diet. Because, I mean, you go to a restaurant, you can't always choose everything, right? So we gotta be planning for that. Also, one of the ingredients that are the products that we have at Top Shelf Nutra is a micellized tea tree. Now you probably already know that tea tree is amazing as a disinfectant, as an antiviral, antifungal, etc. It's a wonderful tool for our immune system. However, the traditional tea tree is actually pretty harsh and stringent for body tissues, whether in your mouth or on your skin topically. If you've ever put tea tree on an open wound, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you got too many drops in your mouth, it can be very harsh on the system. So what we've done at Top Shelf Nutra is we've micellized this tea tree, which means we've surrounded the oil molecule in water molecules. So now it's a water-soluble oil. And so it isn't as stringent, it isn't as harsh, and in fact is perfectly safe for oral consumption and topical use. So we love the fact that we can actually utilize the powerful benefits of tea tree internally and topically on our body without any of the harshness and the precautions. We're going to move right along here and talk about soft tissue disorders. Now, what are included in soft tissues? We're talking about your eyes, your skin. We're talking about your lungs. We're talking about all of the nerves, the nervous system in the body. Okay, your brain is the largest area of this, and your skin. And so what what does it need? Well, the body needs a lot of healthy essential fatty acids, other fats, and cholesterol in order to repair, rebuild, maintain. Okay, so you can look through this list. You might be surprised at some of the disorders on here, and you're like, I had no idea that that was linked to consumption or not of a lack of healthy fats. But many of these diseases didn't exist 40, 50 years ago. It wasn't until we were told to eat a low fat, low cholesterol diet that all of a sudden these diseases popped up. These are man created diseases. These are almost medical community diseases, because in our health classes in school, we were told to avoid the yolks of eggs. We were told to avoid butter and to use margarine instead, and vegetable cooking oils and all these types of things. We were told to not eat the skins, of the chicken, and to avoid the skins of fish, and et cetera, et cetera. And folks, it was all wrong. Okay, it was all wrong. Our body is deficient of fats when we have these disorders. Our body is deficient in cholesterol when we have these disorders. Cholesterol in the blood has nothing to do with the cholesterol that you eat. It has to do more with sugar and inflammation than it does with consumption of actually healthy cholesterols in eggs and meats and dairy products. So how do we solve this problem? Well, into adding those things, those healthy things back into our diet. We also have a number of products to help maintain the healthy cell membranes. Think about it for a second. In every cell, the outer layer of every cell, that membrane, is made up of fats. So what happens when we don't consume enough healthy fats? Well, then the body uses alternatives, and those alternatives are what we get in margarine and cooking oils and fried foods, and they're not as effective. And that's one of the reasons why we have all of those diseases that we just talked about. They're popping up like crazy because we have unhealthy cells throughout our body, and they're seen first in our skin and our eyes and in our nervous system. A lot of these diseases and disorders can be done away with just with modification of diet and adding a few things. So we've got a couple of products on EFA Red, the mustard oil. I love this product. I'm consuming both of those every day. I'm putting them on topically. The muscadine seed oil topically. I'm taking it orally. I'm giving it to my kids. EFA Red capsules, the Delo cream oil. These are all fantastic products that help support the body, the soft tissues inside and out. And so, these are definitely something you want to add to your protocol if any of those disorders, those soft tissues disorders, wind up on your medical chart. All right. So again, as a review, remember these colors, right? The red is the blood sugar. The blue is the hard tissue. The green is digestion and immunity. And the yellow is the soft tissue and the veins and arteries and nervous system. Okay, so take a look at that. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. And we're going to bring this to a close with a few do's and don'ts. Okay, we want you consuming natural whole foods. We want you consuming green leafy vegetables, high antioxidant foods. We want you to consume high protein and high fat meals and snacks. Drink plenty of raw water. What to avoid? Avoid margarine. Use butter instead. Avoid carbonated drinks during your meal times. They just neutralize your stomach acid, and then you can't break down food. Avoid fried foods, especially those that are done in vegetable oils. Processed meats with the nitrites and nitrates. Processed sugars, pesticides, pollution. Do the best you can so that your digestive system doesn't have to work as hard. Also, when it comes to taking supplements, it's always best to take them with food. You don't have to, but it's going to be easier because your body's already been producing saliva, stomach acid, enzymes, all those things. Because you smell and you see food, your body starts getting ready for it. And so if you take your supplements at the same time that you eat, you're kind of tricking your body into thinking that's what you're eating. And that's what you want. That's when you're going to get the highest absorption and the best benefit. Take adequate amounts. Okay, the medical community will tell us that we should dose everything, whether it's a child or an adult. But I know for a fact that there are children who are much larger than I am, and so it's not about age; it's about body weight. So, gauge it according to weight. If you are a larger person, consume more. If you're a smaller person, you don't need as much. And it's just like the veterinary industry. The larger the animal, the greater the nutrients. And we know this. You go buy dog or cat food, they'll have large breed dog, medium-sized dogs, and small breed dog food. They show you right there. So just base your supplements along the same thing, and then make sure you're absorbing. You should see a difference. If you're suffering from any of these health conditions that we talked about, and then you make the dietary changes that we said, and you're taking the supplements, you should notice some. Give your body 60 to 90 days of doing this, and you should see improvement. And if you're not seeing improvement, reach out to us. We got to figure out what's wrong, because you're either not absorbing or you're not getting enough of the nutrition. It's a pretty easy formula. So what does it take to join our family? Well, you can get the lowest prices of the highest quality products, and get free shipping just by becoming a member of Top Shelf Nutra. And so for $14.95 a month, you can have a membership, gives you always free shipping, and you get the wholesale price. You also get the ability to refer others. There's no minimums, no quotas. And if you want to, you can pay for it all up front, and we give you some bonuses. You get 30 PDCs off the bat. That's like $30 to spend on product. Whoever refers you gets 25. And we have a little special announcement for the month of September, as we do a September to Remember promotion, okay, where we're going to give an extra 25 piece for every referral. So when you refer somebody, instead of getting the $5 a month that you get in PDCs for every referral, we're going to give you extra 25 in the first month. So refer somebody and they join the family, you automatically at the end of the month are going to get $25 to spend on product. And if they buy the annual membership, we're going to give an extra 25 as well. So instead of 25, you get 50. Okay, so for September, let's go and bring in some family members. Let's go share the benefits of Top Shelf Nutra formulas, and the benefits of free shipping, the benefits of getting the wholesale pricing and the product discount credits and everything. Let's go share that with folks in the month of September, and let's grow our family. So thanks everybody for being with me. I took a little longer than we normally do. I'll get better at this presentation. I hope the information was helpful. But very much love the testimonials that we're getting. Please continue to share the results that you are having yourself in the Facebook Messenger group. You can share them on the chat on these Zooms. But remember, we get together on Tuesday evenings and Saturday mornings. And if you need us for anything other than that, reach out to our customer service via email